Is there a new gold making concentration meta forming in Midnight that nobody expected? Well, maybe kinda. This is interesting for sure, but this was something I talked about in videos before Midnight released, although by no means did I foresee what was going to happen here. So today we're looking at blacksmithing concentration. Now it's not particularly about blacksmithing concentration, but it is about sort of concentration that you wouldn't normally expect to be making quite a bit of profit, but we'll get into that. But I can hear you all laughing even about the thought of blacksmithing concentration anyway. But bear with me on this one, as this is genuinely interesting, and recent changes have made this perhaps viable, maybe even some of the best, but I'll let you decide on that. First, a quick word about the community gold making Discord. I have put over 20 Midnight Profession, crafting and farming guides on there for free for everybody to use to help you with your gold making. If that's of any use to you, link to join is in the description below. Okay, so I'm setting up a concentration blacksmithing character. We don't need to cover this in detail. Grab your profession treasures, do all your first time crafts. I skipped the stone first time crafts here as the roots are still silly expensive. I also grabbed the weekly treasures while I was going around grabbing the one-off profession treasures as well. For my knowledge here, I'm allocating the knowledge to profession gear crafting to max this out. With blacksmithing, this is also going to unlock the rare profession gear recipes. This is not the case with every single profession. You may potentially need to use Moxie to buy recipes for some of them. So yes, I'm doing this as blacksmithing concentration, but what I'm talking about here is any profession tool crafting in particular, not profession gear crafting. So for this example, I'm looking at a rare mining pick. Now, as you saw in my last video, these have now been hotfixed. So they no longer bind on pickup, these now bind on equip, and you can sell them on the auction house, which makes concentration on these much more interesting. Even with only around 60 blacksmithing skill, that basic knowledge setup and cheap uncommon profession gear, we can still craft these at rank 5 with concentration. Now, we can replace one sterling alloy here, so that we can replace some of the expensive rank 2 materials with rank 1. This is fine, this is what we've always been used to with concentration, but this is not the main reason this works well. Because we're using concentration here, we can use a cheaper rank 1 missive. At the moment, this is actually making much more of a difference with the crafting cost than replacing the higher rank materials. As you are well aware, you need to use a missive here. You may see cheaper rank 5 rare mining picks on the auction house, but you're only going to be selling, you're only competing against the mining picks that have the same stats as you. So with mining pick, that's going to be like finesse basically. Now remember, at the moment we are doing this, we have a really crappy profession skill. So I'm at sort of like 60-ish skill here. Now because we are crafting rare profession gear, this is actually going to level us up with our concentration and crafting these over time all the way to 100 profession skill, which is pretty nice as well. What this will do then is allow us to replace even more of these rank 2 sterling alloys with rank 1 and increase the profit margins even more over time as we level up, just as part of using our concentration. Realistically, this won't increase the profit margins so much as help us maintain the profit margins that are currently there, because material prices will come down over time. But you know, it all helps in making us more gold from this in the longer term. You can also apply this exact same idea to a few other profession tools as well. So blacksmithing is just the example I'm using here, but engineering and many of the other profession tools will end up working in a very similar way. So it's definitely worth checking out the numbers on your server, because profit margins on these are going to vary a little bit. Resourcefulness procs on these sorts of crafts are frankly insane. At the moment on the US, a resourcefulness proc on a majestic item could net you 40,000 gold. I don't usually push towards getting more knowledge on these kinds of characters, these sort of concentration, throwaway or army characters. But if you do want to, stack up more resourcefulness and this will pay out in the long term. So another factor with this sort of concentration setup is that we are selling on individual servers. Previously, everything we have sold via concentration has been on the region-wide auction house. This means that the amount of profit you could make from this is going to vary a lot more than usual. On some of the highest population servers, this could do good, sure, but on some of the medium and lower population servers, the profit margins here could be pretty insane, especially over the next few days. Now, I do think this is going to be one of those cases where this is one of those gold-making things that's really good, but it's also going to be really competitive. Finding the profit margins won't be so much of an issue, or at least it's not at the moment anyway, but the cancel scanning on these is probably going to be a nightmare with how good this currently is. And unfortunately, that just comes with the package. At least with these, you're only cancel scanning on your own server and not against the entire region. Another potential issue, I do want to put out a warning here, not because I don't think this is great, but mostly because the change in rare profession gear is new, and this is making the price of the majestic materials that go into a lot of these crafts get very volatile. You could craft these, and the price of the majestic materials, if they drop 20%, then that kind of leaves you in a bit of a crap situation. Whereas if the price carries on going up like they have been doing, that feeds really well into your craft compared to the people that are crafting later down the line who are going to have a higher crafting cost. Overall, I find this really interesting new angle for concentration going forward, selling stuff on individual servers. It's very different to what we've had before. If this video was helpful, please leave it a like and feel free to come and join us and use those gold making profession guides on the Discord link below.